Liz Harberman is the independent candidate for the seat of Grey. Liz, it's getting a bit feisty as we get close to the polling day on 21 May.
Hey, Ricky, yeah, apparently it is.
Yeah, look, we've got to go through some of these topics that have come up. I guess you'd be happy at least to have received the backing of Barry Wakeland, the former member for Grey, for your campaign and not that of Mr Ramsey.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Barry and his wife Tina were a massive support for me for my Flinders campaign, and I'm just rapt that they, are still showing that support. It just sort of shows, even though he was literally a Liberal MP, he's very aware of how things are out there for everyone, and I'm very, very fortunate to have his support.
Yeah, and so that's telling that he even supported your campaign against Sam Telfer, the incumbent Liberal. Is he the only one, or have you had approaches from other Liberal members saying they've lost faith in their party over in the western part of the state?
There were a few, but they were sort of keeping it fairly quiet, only because funding and everything that they'd received from the federal and state governments, and so they didn't want to jeopardise any of that. But yeah, there were a few that were once staunch Liberals, and hey, I voted Liberal myself, so look at me. Can't get
Well, and that's your proposition to voters, of course, is that you're wanting them to vote for you and not a Liberal this time around in the campaign. We've had this discussion with Rowan Ramsey. You've heard the audio about, the debate that's happening mostly in the eastern states about these teal independents, people that are strong advocates for climate change, among other things. You've mentioned that's a priority for you. Do you have any linkages to these other independents?
No, not aligned, not funded by Climate 200. I did ask, but they weren't interested. So I think because I'm not up there with the ones in the eastern states apparently. But I did hear that Rowan referred to me as quite a significant independent. So that was pretty cool to hear. But look, as far as my campaign, I'm running a grassroots campaign. I've got a team. They're incredible people. They're volunteering their time. We've literally all got day jobs still to do, so it's almost a passion thing that we're doing. We've got this fire in our belly. We all need to see this change happen, and I'm very, very fortunate to have people wanting to help me.
So, just going back to that comment you made, you did approach some people that were associated, I guess, with this Climate 200 group to get some support for your campaign?
Yeah, because it's not a cheap exercise. It's literally coming out of my own bank account and the generosity from people in the community. And we all know the price of fuel. I don't have accommodation, so I've got to either find that, which is either paying for it or bedding down in someone's house. It's not cheap. The fact that I don't have t-shirts or hats because there's no money for them. So it's literally me getting out there. I'm driving around in my bus, which is, I'm enjoying it. I've got my corporates in the window. People see that, and it's sort of, my way of advertising. It's tough. Like it's not cheap exercise. And hearing what some of these other parties and are spending, you think, oh, that could be fixing so many things. But anyway, it is what it is, and if parties can spend literally millions of dollars on advertising, hey, I'm just trying to gather together some money to do some TV advertising and paper advertising, and besides that, it's me getting out, going into businesses, introducing myself. You can't. It's just grassroots stuff.
Yep. We've got a duty to our listeners to ask this, of course. You haven't received any substantial donation from outside of the electorate to support your campaign. It doesn't sound like it from what you're telling me.
No. I've got some support from Murray Shaw, who started all this for me and saw that we need vision and hope out there. So besides that, it's, if anyone wants to donate.
So Murray Shaw, are you saying she's just providing sort of, is she providing financial support, or is she just providing, I guess, emotional and other support in the campaign?
Well, yeah, both. So there was minimal financial support from her this time, but then her emotional support, like just sort of someone saying, hey, look, you're doing a good job, keep it up, because it's not easy out there. But, I get to meet all these people. I'm so fortunate, really, to be able to be doing this, and I figured I've got to enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it?
Oh, absolutely. Now, one thing that we talked about with Rowan Ramsey as well yesterday was about something that Barry Wakeland nominated as a reason he's backed you, is this issue of the nuclear storage facility at Kimba. Mr. Ramsey says he's well and truly behind this, of course. He's been an advocate for it. What's your position on that?
Well, for starters, there was a very flawed process how they came to get that land at Kimba in the first place. The people who ended up having a say, that was quite a flawed process. So the other thing, we need to protect our farming land. It's minimal. I think it's under 4% of South Australia is farming land, and you think you can't eat money, so we've got to sort of safeguard our future, and that's another point to that. So besides the fact that we're trying to sell the greater regions of EP, especially as a green renewable energy hub, and then to have a nuclear waste facility in the smack bang in the centre of it kind of doesn't sit well. There's plenty of other places that are more suitable.
Now, Mr. Ramsey pointed to these polls that were conducted, and 62% of the local community supported. He said it's similar to the support for the plebiscite on same-sex marriage. And he said, well, everyone, the majority of Australians supported that. What do you say about those polls or those surveys? You're saying that's all part of this flawed process?
Absolutely. I've got people who have spoken to me who live 10 k's from the site, but they just don't live in the Kimba council district, so they didn't get a say. But people living in the Kimba council district, 100 k's away from the site, got a say. So if it was a fully South Australian poll, absolutely, then great, if that was the results, but it wasn't. So that's what I mean by a flawed process.
And you've pointed out the flaws in the process from your point of view. When it comes to the facility itself, you simply don't want it to go ahead? I just want to be clear on that.
Oh, look, I think we need somewhere safe to store this waste, but the goals keep on being moved. It's like initially it was going to be, I think, 60 employees, and it was, 40, 45 or something. Now I think it's under 20. It was going to be buried, and now they're building they want to build a big storage shed. So, what's the story? Stop changing it and just be open and honest and clear about it.
So you're not got a position whether it should or shouldn't happen, say, in Grey or near Kimba. You just want more clarity on what's meant to be happening there?
Yeah, but what about Woomera? There's certainly other places out there that are just more suitable, like land that can't be used for anything else.
So you're talking maybe it should be further out in the outback.
Yeah, there's plenty of other, whether it's even in SA at all, but there's certainly plenty of other places more suitable.
Now, lastly, when it comes to what Barry Wakeland nominated as his frustrations with the Liberal Party, he talked about the amount of debt that had been incurred to deal with the COVID situation in Australia. What's your view on how the government should manage its finances? Do you have a concern about federal debt? Should they have spent less during the pandemic? I'm just wondering if he's thrown his support behind you, maybe you've got a different fiscal position to that of Mr. Ramsey.
Oh, look, I think as far as all the debt side of things goes, they managed it as best they could under the circumstances. I'm about, I know what it is like to have, rising costs of pretty much everything that we deal with daily. Look, that's something that needs to be obviously addressed, but it's one of those things that, I don't know. It's just a tough one. People needed to be helped, and that's what's happened. But there was certainly money sent to businesses that obviously didn't need it. That needs to be sorted out. And also when the Liberal Party is sending, I think $4.5 million to a distillery, when we've got people absolutely struggling and things like aged care services, struggling, people without a roof over their head. I think we just need to actually get back to this thing about the people, not about supporting businesses that are already making massive profits. We need to get it back to about people.
So that $1.3 billion $1.3 trillion in debt. Do you support that needing to be paid down? Do we need higher taxes to pay it down, or you're comfortable carrying that amount of federal debt?
Oh, I'm not comfortable carrying that at all, but it would be a matter of sitting down and working out how we deal with it. It's not just you can't just sort of I've got to talk to people who are in the know about this stuff. It's just, I'm the candidate trying to listen to so many stories and be an advocate for people. I've got to get to Canberra first before I can work out how to deal with the trillions of dollars worth of debt. So it's I don't know that it's high taxes. We've got to bring the amount of money that's going overseas. There's so many things that need to be looked at.
Yep. All right, Liz. Well, thanks for that conversation and some important sort of clarity on why Barry Wakeland's backing you, the former Liberal MP for the seat. Certainly welcome backing on your part. And not far away now till the 21 May poll. All the best if I don't talk to you before then.
Yeah, thanks, Ricky. I just want to add, though, that while Climate 200 is, they've got some certain things that they're fighting for. I do agree with them, though, even though I'm not supported by them or funded by them, that, we need climate action. We need a federal ITAC. And also, hey, I'm a almost 52-year-old woman who just happens to like the colour teal. So besides, there's people that are making these correlations between us. It's just, I'm just out there.
Yeah, so to be clear, you're not receiving any money from them, but you fully support what Climate 200 is standing for.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know them personally, but people trying to sort Australia out and get, climate action started. We need to do something. There's many things that I'm fighting for, but it's just an absolute coincidence that my colours happen to be teal, pretty much because they suit me, and there's no other ties. I've been told in the last couple of days that I'm supporting Labor, which is totally untrue, and then yesterday I think it was I'm supporting Greens, and it's like, I'm looking forward to seeing who people say I'm supporting today. It's just like they're just playing games, and I'm well aware of it.
And that's why we focus on the policy topics we've talked about today, is just so that we can, people can make their own assessment about where you lean based on your positions on policy.
Yeah, well, that's right. And hey, I've got certainly a lot to learn, but I do know that people in grey deserve to have a strong voice and someone to advocate for them in Canberra.
Thanks again, Liz. I've got to go, and appreciate your time today.
No worries. Thanks, Ricky.